Hi, I'm Hazel. It is almost Saturday, so it's time to sit down and catch up with a really quick vlog. This week, I tried my first heroic dungeon on the Legion Alpha. So far, up to this point, I've been doing normals. So we decided to queue for heroic, and we ended up in the Vault of the Wardens. So we did heroic Vault of Wardens, and it was hard. It was very hard. I'm very surprised that they let you queue up for heroic dungeons while you're still leveling. That is, as far as I know, very new to Legion, and it feels weird. It feels strange, especially because, as far as I know, the reward structure for doing dungeons while leveling either really sucks or it's not fully implemented yet. Because right now you get pretty crappy experience for doing dungeons while you're leveling. It's very minimal, and you don't really get all that much artifact power, and the gear is only okay. So I don't really see why you would do a dungeon at all, let alone opt to do a much harder one for no significant extra rewards, at least while leveling. It may make more sense at max level, and they may also be intending on adding more rewards into doing dungeons. But right now it feels like they're really trying to herd you towards the questing experience, because it seems like that's where they put a lot of their time. They don't want you to burn yourself out on dungeons before you've even reached 110. So anyways, we did the heroic. Vault of the Wardens is a very cool dungeon. It's got some really neat bosses. It's no, I'm just hoping that the tuning for heroic for leveling is not quite done yet, because the first boss, we went through like 2 whole sets of DPS before we finally killed it with the 3rd set. Like, it felt actually impossible. We were always really close, but we just could never quite do it. Like, my tank would just get meleeed 100-0 to death through cooldowns just for no reason. So hopefully they fix up the tuning on that. But my overall experience with the Legion dungeons, just like overall of all the ones that I've done on both normal and this new one in heroic, they're really cool. They're really well done. They are beautiful looking. They're very well themed, so they don't feel too disjointed. They all kind of tell a story. They've got interesting characters in them. The mechanics are really cool and interesting. None of them feel over. A couple of them, there's like long ones and short ones. There's some 3 boss dungeons that don't take you very long. There's some 5 boss dungeons that are a little bit more of an undertaking, and yeah, I think they're all really well done. And also, there's quite a few of them. I believe there's at least 10 Legion dungeons that are going to be available on launch. I don't remember how many Warlords had, but I feel like it wasn't 10. But anyways, that has been that. Outside of videos in the Legion Alpha this week, I've been putting pretty much all of my extra free time into getting as much arena practice as possible. Right now, I'm a little bit discouraged just because I'm frustrated with my lack of progress. Like, I'm doing fine, but I want to be doing a lot better, and I just keep making the same mistakes over again. It's really, really frustrating, but I'm just going to stick with it. I think the only thing I can do is just keep trying. There's nothing like not giving up, I guess. And I've been kind of dealing with like some physical, like it's been a while since I played just this much. Wow, like I'm spending pretty much all my time between videos and arena, like on the computer. My hands have been kind of hating me. I've recently started lifting weights again, just because I always noticed that really helped me whenever I was getting like nerve pain from playing too much WoW. So I've been getting back at that. Related to arena, the GCD America's Spring Cup, there's a new North American tournament, so for, North American players, I believe it starts today. The qualifiers are starting today at, they said 8 p.m. Eastern, which makes it 5 p.m. Pacific, which makes it like an hour and a half. So I'm actually really excited about that. I'm planning on watching pretty much the whole thing. I want to just like put it on and just watch the whole thing. And I'll probably be fishing as well, or finding something else to do, because I find whenever watching a WoW tournament, it's usually best to have something going on in your other monitor, because there will be technical difficulties and times where they just can't get things together, and you're probably going to be waiting for a while. So it's always good to have something else going on at the same time. But I'm really excited to watch the tournament with a lot of names that I recognize. A lot of people that I fought against, a lot of people that I fought with, a lot of people that I've like read posts from on forums and seen on streams, and it's just really cool to see. So I'm really excited about that. What else in WoW? Blue Post. There's a new Blue Post today or yesterday or somewhat recently. I'm kind of losing track of time in my life, but about the Broken Isles Pathfinder achievement. So the achievement process that's going to be in place in Legion to unlock flying in Legion. So just like Warlords, at launch, Legion will not have flying. You'll be using ground mounts to get around, which is kind of why I figure they're doing like the Legion Collector's Edition mount is a ground mount. It does not fly. Same with the Gladiator mounts that they've shown so far. They do not look like they fly. And it's going to be kind of a similar situation to Draenor. The big question going into this was, now that they know, like, from the very start how they're going to handle the whole flying situation, when exactly are we going to be able to finish that achievement? Like, when is the earliest time we'll feasibly be able to finish that achievement and actually get flying? And the answer is not in the first patch, so I was kind of afraid of that. I was hoping that within launch, everything would be in place for you to get flying. I'd be fine with time gating, I'd be fine with rep gating. I just kind of wanted it to be something you can start working towards right away. And while you can start working towards it right away, and they've stated that the vast majority of the criteria you need to complete that achievement are going to be available at launch, you will not be able to finish the achievement at launch, and some criteria are going to be locked behind whatever comes in the first or maybe even the second patch. I'm hoping for the first patch. So yeah, I'm kind of rolling over that information, trying to figure out how I feel about it. At first, I was really disappointed just because I thought flying in Draenor was a really great thing to add, and I wish they had added it earlier. So I'm not looking forward to them really holding back on that for Legion for us. But on the other hand, when Legion launches, we're going to have so much stuff to grind. We're going to have to level. Anybody with alts that needs to get those up is going to have to level the alts. And any character you're planning on playing competitively or like raiding or PvP, you're going to need to do your artifact chain. You're going to need to do your class order hall stuff to unlock another artifact relic. You're going to be needing to... and if you're doing PvP, obviously you've got to do the PvP talent grind. There's so many things. The artifact weapon in particular looks like it's going to take a massive amount of time, and because that is completable at launch, and because it gives you direct combat bonuses that work in both PvP and PvE, you're gonna want to do that, and it's gonna take you a huge amount of time. So having that extra, if Draenor Pathfinder was completely available at launch, and it felt like you can get this as soon as you can get this, so you may as well go grind it all at once. I feel like all of those grinds happening simultaneously would be really overwhelming, kind of the same effect that we had in Mists of Pandaria, when they really front-loaded us with dailies, and you felt like if you wanted to be a competitive raider, you had to do all of these dailies every day. I think they're trying to avoid that kind of situation. I don't know how well they're going to accomplish that, especially considering the way that this the way that the artifact grind is looking, but... or at least they're like that's my thinking for why they're gating that behind another patch, and it'll be mostly fine. Legion seems like it's more navigable, I should say, on foot than Draenor was. Like, for example, in Draenor, when you were leveling through Spires of Iraq and you couldn't fly, that zone was so frustrating because not only it's very mountainous, and I get that, but it was so hard to, like, if you were trying to go from point A to point B, chances are you were going to find the cliff, and you're going to realize you can't run up the cliff, and then you're going to try and go around one way, and you're going to realize that takes you down a different cliff, and then you try and get around the other way, and you finally find the cliff, and it takes you way longer than it needs to get places. And I haven't had that problem so far while leveling through the Draenor zones. I've done all the Draenor zones that are available, and I have on very, very few occasions gotten frustrated with the lack of understanding where to go. The roads are very clear, the roads work really well, and if you do want to go off the road and take a shortcut to get somewhere, you're probably not going to get horribly lost. There is a lot of vertical axis going on, especially in Suramar. There's like a bunch of different levels, but for the most part it's pretty straightforward as to how to get to where you're going, so I don't think it's going to be as frustrating navigating around Legion and the Broken Isles without flying as it was in Draenor. But I do think, personally, I'm going to hold off on stuff like archaeology, for sure, until we get flying, just because there's no point in putting time into something like that. I mean, maybe if there's like a really cute pet or like a mount, then yeah, maybe. But when something like that just becomes so much easier once you're able to fly, that's something that you can kind of just put on the back burner and sort of deal with all of the other stuff you're going to have to do when Legion launches first, if that makes any sense. What else? The podcast. We took a week off the podcast. You may have noticed if you tried to tune into the podcast on Monday. We didn't do one. I think we were supposed to tweet about that, and I'm not sure if we did. Joe had some personal stuff scheduled. We should be completely back on track for this upcoming Monday, which is, Monday. And, of course, all of the episodes are available on iTunes, Stitcher, d20crypt.com, and I've been periodically uploading them here on YouTube as well. So those are all available, and I've actually been having a lot of fun doing them. I've been having more fun than I expected doing the podcast, if that makes any sense. I'd never been on a podcast before, so I didn't really know what to expect, and it's been really, really rewarding, so I'm really excited about that. Quick look over some of the art. Since the last time that I actually showed you some, I have a couple of new ones. This is a painting of some sheep in a field. They are in a field. I know it kind of looks like the front one's in some water because his legs are twice as long as the other sheep. It was very late when I painted this, and I don't really know what's up with that. This next one is mildly graphic in a cartoon violence kind of way. This is a very, very evil zebra. I was really upset at something, and I was drawing a zebra, and I just got really frustrated with the zebra, so I decided to make him be, eating somebody. I don't really know. And then this next one is, again, very, 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 very fast, and pretty, MS Paint quality, but this is one of my arena teammates' cats. He sent us a picture of his cat, just in his pants, and it's really cute, and I needed something to draw that day, so I tried to draw the cat in the pants, and it didn't really go well, so I had to label both the cat and the pants, but he liked it anyway, so it's fine. This one is Wiggins the Weary Worm. This is another like animal character. Wiggins is, you know, he's very overwhelmed with his life. His life doesn't really involve much of anything. He doesn't really have any responsibilities or pressures. He's just kind of very dreary about the whole thing. So that's Wiggins. And then Bartholomew the Bear is this last one. And he's kind of the opposite of Wiggins. He is a very cheerful, very happy bear. He does not understand why Wiggins or anybody else could ever be sad, because there's always fish in the river and, you know, just grass in the lawn. There's just always good stuff to be happy about. So Bartholomew doesn't understand any of that. He's just a happy bear, and he just kind of does his own happy bear thing. And he actually took me 2 days just because I went very much overboard with his fur. And I'm not even really happy with how it turned out, so I'm going to have to try something different next time. But hey, I was A for effort. Questions from last week. And Rusher has 2 questions. The first one is there a price to enter the BlizzCon tournament? If not, why don't you try? You would lose nothing and it'd be a great experience. So I don't actually know for sure if there's a price for entering the BlizzCon tournament. There's either money or a minimum arena rating or both. I'm not real clear on exactly what the qualifications are, but I do have no intention of entering this year. If I do ever enter a tournament like that, I would want it to be one where I have a chance of making it at least past the first round, you know? Right now I am absolutely nowhere near that point, and I feel like I would embarrass myself, and it's not an experience that I want. It sounds kind of like a nightmare to me. I would much rather just kind of relax and not be in it, and rather sit and watch it and cheer for all my favorite people. So that's going to be me this year. One day, maybe, BlizzCon 2030. But not for me. And then secondly, if there was a BlizzCon pet battle tournament, would you join? Obviously. Which is a funny thing for me to say because I don't really do PvP pet battles all that much, but if they actually added a pet battle tournament to BlizzCon, which I think in order for them to do that first, they would need to add a pet battle ladder onto live, just to, you know, have a community that's more than just this random queue with no MMR. But if they added a pet battle tournament to BlizzCon, I would, you know, do the nerd thing where I actually study and figure out what some of the better things to do are and, like, kind of learn the metagame a little bit more closely and put more time into being good at that, because that just sounds great. Either that or I would somehow end up commentating it, because that sounds like fun, too. So, if there was a BlizzCon pet tournament, I would do everything within my power to be involved. However, I do not see them doing that. Pet battles seem very much like WoW kind of seems like a B-roll game to them right now. Like, they're making so much more money off of Hearthstone and Heroes and even Diablo and whatnot, that WoW seems kind of like an afterthought. They're keeping it afloat because obviously there's a community that they're very passionate about and it's still making money for them, but they understand that it's not, like, MMOs, especially WoW-style MMOs, are not really the cool thing to do anymore. They're very much going out of style, and pet battles are within WoW a B-roll activity, so they're very much not a priority. I very much doubt they would ever do that, but if they did, I would get involved somehow. I don't know how, but I would figure it out. So that has been my week. If you guys have any questions you would like answered on a vlog, just leave them as a comment on the most recent vlog, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!